Hello there guys, Daniel Childs back here again. Happy Monday, and we are now in the beginning of the Enzo Maresca era at Chelsea Football Club. Officially announced as Chelsea's new head coach. We'll go through the official statement by the club and then a potential other announcement that could be coming this week in regards to Chelsea's transfer business for this summer. If you like the sound of that, please do hit that like button. Please do share this video on socials. If you are watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast feed, thank you as ever for tuning in. And things are about to get busy. I'm intrigued to see whether we get any form of media with Enzo Maresca. I believe David Ornstein reported last night that he will be presented to the media, which is nice because I think last year we had to wait till the very beginning of July, so basically a month from now, to hear from Pochettino. So it'd be nice to hear from Enzo Maresca, but let's jump straight into it. The statement by Chelsea, who are delighted to announce the appointment of Enzo Maresca as the new head coach. The Italian will begin his role on the 1st of July 2024 on a 5-year contract with a club option of a further year. Lawrence Stewart and Paul Stanley gave their quotes. They said, "We are delighted to welcome Enzo to Chelsea. He has proven himself to be an excellent coach capable of delivering impressive results with an exciting and identifiable style. Enzo has deeply impressed us in our discussions leading up to his appointment. His ambitions and work ethic align with those of the club. We thoroughly look forward to working with him." Then attributed to the ownership group at Chelsea, so not Todd Bowley, not Benedict Bowley, the ownership group which contains those individuals. "We are thrilled to welcome Enzo into the Chelsea family. We look forward to supporting him and the rest of the sporting team in fulfilling their potential. He is a highly gifted coach and leader that we are confident can help fulfill our vision and competitive goals for the club." And then Maresca said at the bottom of the statement, "To join Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in the world, is a dream for any coach. It is why I'm excited by this opportunity. I look forward to working with a very talented group of players and staff to develop a team that continues the club's tradition of success and makes our fans proud." The other interesting tidbit from this statement is the confirmation of his backroom staff. Not that surprising, but a return for Willy Caballero, who obviously was a part of his coaching staff at Leicester last year, and as well of the appointment of Bernardo Cueva from Brentford, who will lead the set-piece department. So someone who was, talked about coming into Chelsea January, February, March time. I want to say it was at the start of this year, so we now have that official appointment. I'm just intrigued to hear, as I am with any new head coach, what they actually say when a camera's in front of them. I do find these statements, very bland and kind of what you expect. And my overall opinions on the appointment I made in a show last week. If you haven't listened to it, haven't seen it, please go and do so. But we move on now. He is the Chelsea coach. He deserves our support and patience. And I hope it does turn out to be a very big appointment for Chelsea. I hope in 2 to 3 years' time, we sit back and go, that was a great piece of business by Chelsea to appoint Enzo Maresca. So we'll see how that all develops. And I think the next interesting point is really looking at the squad and what Chelsea are going to look like now under Enzo Maresca heading into next season. And there is a belief from several reports over the weekend that Chelsea are likely to secure the signature of effectively free agent defender Tosin Adarabioyo from Fulham. Jacob Steinberg reporting on this. I believe it was Romano who originally broke the story, but I've seen it in several places here that Chelsea believe they have beaten Newcastle in the race for Tosin, who had a very impressive season and has impressed at Fulham over the past couple of years. Part of the appeal to Chelsea, apparently, in terms of Tosin, is that he is not hugely expensive and has ample Premier League experience. His ability on the ball should make him suited to Maresca's football, which places a heavy emphasis on possession. On the face of it, when I look at purely the player on his own, I think this is a smart piece of business. I really do. You've lost Thiago Silva. The fitness of Wesley Fofana is something that we're going to have to gauge over pre-season. It's because he's been out for so long. It's going to be difficult and challenging for him to return. I'm not saying that he couldn't be a big player for us last season, but that question mark looms like it does over a lot of players, right? Their long-term injury record. But then also, if you're going to replace Silva, if you're going to bring new legs into that defense, and given how much you've spent there already, how are you going to do that business? And I think that Tosin hopefully starts a trend this summer of the sort of business I want to see from Chelsea. And that's where I'll give the club credit over this, is because he does have Premier League experience. He is in the prime of his career. He's about, I think, 26. So he's a little bit older than what Chelsea have regularly gone for. Not ridiculous wages, a free transfer, and someone, I think mainly the reason I'm excited for this signing potential signing, we'll have to wait to see if it goes through, is actually less to do with him passing the ball. It's actually to do with one of the things that needs to be addressed defensively and just all round in terms of the shape of the team, the profile of the team, and that's having bigger, more physically imposing players, specifically at set pieces. And just looking at a comparison on Wyscout here, I looked at all of the Chelsea defenders: Axel Disasi, Levi Colwill, Benoit Badiashile and Trevor Chalobah. It felt a little bit relevant to put Silva in here because, of course, he's now departed, but looking at last season and looking at how they performed, and I think the biggest thing here is the percentage of aerial duels won, which has Tosin way out in front at 70.25 compared to Axel Disasi at 56, Levi second to Tosin at 63, Benoit Badiashile at 43, and Trevor Chalobah at 54. So just in terms of what, like from a profile point of view, and what Chelsea really struggled with in terms of, as I say, having people inside the box who are taller, who can win those headers, who can alleviate the threat, especially at set pieces, which Chelsea was so bad at, and part of the reason why they're bringing in someone specifically to look at set pieces. I think that's what makes it a good piece of business. And I do think that Tosin, again, he's not going to come in with the biggest hype in the world, but hopefully someone who very quickly, if given the opportunity, because he's been playing at this level, it's not going to take him years and years to mature. So it's the type of signing I want to see. And if you have this trend of signings where, whether it's Premier League quality, first team quality, upgrades, or at least players who are going to quickly offer things to Enzo Maresca, I like that. There is a but coming. And the but is obviously Trevor Chalobah and the future of Trevor Chalobah. For whatever you say about Tosin is not an upgrade on Trevor Chalobah. Even looking at those numbers there, I mean, that's one part of it. But, if you're not Trevor's biggest fan, and I do admit that that's kind of the weakest part of his game, I say it's equal, right? But I still think Trevor, because of the level he's played at in recent years, I think is a better defender. I think currently he's Chelsea's best performing defender. If this signing leads to the exit and sale of Trevor Chalobah, for me, it's a negative. It doesn't make Chelsea's squad stronger. It makes Chelsea's squad weaker. If you're bringing in Tosin and you keep Trevor Chalobah and you sell maybe Axel Disasi or Benoit Badiashile, I think Disasi is definitely the one for me who I'm a lot more open to selling. Then we're having a different conversation. Then I think you have added to your ranks in a smart and shrewd way. If this is being used to cover PSR, if this is being used to eventually make way and get rid of a player who was one of Chelsea's best performers at the end of last season, then I'm not going to give the club credit. So it's kind of hard at the moment to truly think about this signing and to truly judge it. And maybe we have to wait literally the entirety of the summer, because most of the time with Trevor, it feels like we are waiting to deadline day to find out whether he's going to stay or go. And usually he stays, and quite quickly he makes himself part of Chelsea's first team again. And we decide to keep Trevor Chalobah and add what I think is a decent signing into a defence that can hopefully improve next season. Because I do think, just, put his passing aside, I think that physically imposing and suitable for the Premier League, there's a lot more pros than cons over signing Tosin Adarabioyo. So, on his own merits, I think he's a good player to bring in. So hopefully they can get that over the line, because, as I say, it's not costing you the world. I think it makes sense given you have just lost Thiago Silva, and I think to bring in someone who can hopefully quickly improve things or quickly perform, which I think is also important for Maresca, I think it makes sense. So those are my thoughts. We'll obviously see a lot more reaction from Enzo Maresca, I'm sure, in terms of, will we get a press conference later this week? Will we get an interview? I want to hear your thoughts. And, obviously I've done a bit of content so far around Enzo Maresca. I did my predicted 11, which, garnered a lot of response, positive and negative, which is, fair enough. We all have opinions here. And then also probably going to be doing some content with some other creators this week to kind of have conversations about Chelsea. It feels like the right time to do it. We're at the end of the season and kind of looking forward a little bit. And as well, probably doing a little bit more of a deep dive into the Chelsea squad of who I would be buying or keeping, selling, loaning. I think it's the right time to do that as well, especially now we know the appointment of Enzo Maresca has been confirmed. So those are my thoughts. Let me know yours as ever in the comments below, and I will see you again very soon. All the best.